tired. So I'm not gonna have all the usual piss and vinegar that I have. Because I'm tired. I woke up at like 4:45 today. I couldn't get back to sleep. I know not why. I'm not a fan. And now I'm like really tired. Look at this dumbass. Like less than 40 seconds. This guy has been waiting for me to go live for the last at least half hour, just waiting. As soon as he saw it, oh yeah, oh he's here. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord have mercy. But hey, you keep firing off your stupidity, and it might work. It might boost the engine. I don't even know what else to talk about. I'm old. I realize that. I'm not going to be able to provide you with cool, here, this is what is going on. Look at all these pictures, look at these videos, and let's talk about the videos. I don't have that set up. I really don't know what else to talk about. I don't think anything else rivals the importance of what we talk about every day. And I see how everything fits the narrative. I don't see anything that happens or is presented or whatever that sort of throws it off. Instead, it's more everything fits. You go, oh, see, look, this is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying. Once you see it, once you really see it, you see it everything. You see it in everything. You see it everywhere. You don't have to try. And instead, it's like it bothers you because you can't watch. You can't see the world like you used to. That innocence is completely gone, and you start seeing everything as part of the weapon being used against us. I don't know. This thing's bugging me. Look at these guys. Look at this crazy shit. Angry Jews, man. The Jews get mad at me and then come beg for my attention. And it's really interesting to watch it play out. See their stupidity and see how, just the more proof. It's always more proof. If I was wrong, it would be addressed. What's your opinion on Joseph Stalin? Great actor. Played his role very well. I don't think we have an accurate depiction of him, especially here in the States. we know what they want us to know. I think it's interesting how when people talk about, you know, somebody being a bad guy, they go with he's the next Hitler and not the next Stalin. But yeah, I don't, it's weird. It's weird when you get to that place where you realize, you know, it's all manipulation. It's all lies. And, you know, what do you believe? What do you trust? And why? Why would you believe or trust any of it? All, you know, it seems like if enough time passes and enough is said about something, enough people actually look into it, you'll realize it's absolute bullshit. Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson thing is a great example of it, a real modern example of it. Where, you know, they seemingly went out of their way to present us with a you know, a dumb narrative, an obviously see-through narrative. So much so that, you know, it's turned everybody into a detective, and it makes you kind of that fits the epitome of a distraction, right? Because it gives you just enough that if you look into it, you feel like you're doing something. And you're like, hey, look, I'm discovering something. I'm figuring something out. But it's like every time they put Netanyahu on TV, clearly they want us talking about it. They present it to us in ways to make us, you know, to make us focus on things. Again, it's the same sort of thing. What's all this religious discrimination? Well, religion is a cancer. So, if you consider discrimination against cancer a bad thing, well, you're in the wrong place. Like, it's strange to me how something can be called religion and makes it okay, but the exact same shit being called a cult, it's like, then it's a problem. And, you know, it depends on which version of that religion you're saying and or you subscribe to, and where you happen to live, because those things matter in the scheme of things. Doesn't seem to be many chemtrails today, which, you know, seems strange considering it's a totally normal natural phenomenon. It's what planes do, so you would think there would be some every day. I think they impose rules to people they don't have to follow. They do a lot more than that, you know. They divide us as well as unify us, you know, both in negative ways. They provide excuses. And it's all, you know, at the end of the day, it's all Jewish control. You know, if you just look at if you looked up Abrahamic religions and you had a big pie chart, you know, half of it would be Christian, the other half, like a slightly less, lower half would be Muslim, Islam, and then the tiniest little fraction that you can't even see, 0.183% of the world's population, would be Jewish. And then when you take that same chart and you look at like power, you know, who has the power and who has control. Those two big pieces are combined into the Jews, as opposed to that 0.183% that the rest of those other two have now. And it's really fucking strange, right? Let's see. You know, when you have Christians who are supposedly the world's largest religion, I thought it was Muslims until relatively recently, last years or two, whatever. But, fuck, what was I going to say? I hate humans in general. Why? I think you're supposed to hate your average brother and sister, your Goyim, your fellow Goyim. That's how they maintain the control they do. Because they're and fight each other. Shit, this isn't gonna work. Somebody's up and then shut this shit off. What the hell? Oh shit, my phone isn't charging. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I'm not going to be able to do this very long today. What the hell? I'm super confused here. Is it this cord that's not working? Or is it the phone's not charging in general? Let's see here. Okay, so it's that cord. Damn. I mean, it's good, but damn. I was worried that was going to happen. Oy vey. Oy vey. Gosh, Vega. Look at the dumbass comments. Friars are the best. Best at being disgusting pedophile cult members, I guess. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go, come on. OCD dog. Yeah, come on. Go. Yeah, all that stuff is terrible, but it doesn't compete with the child stuff. All the stuff that they do to kids is by far the top of the fucking mountain. Just happy you're in your own bubble. Yeah, but see, the problem with that is you're going to be affected by it. You know, you might not be directly being affected by it, or at least in a way that you recognize being affected by it. But one of these days, very soon, you know, the play is going to be made that uses, and it's already happening. I mean, they're committing genocide as we speak, and you know, like, it's really weird because it's like, it's not even like nobody's talking about it. It's just that the leadership that exists, well, like I say, that you can't at this point, not anymore, claim that the genocide is the thing that we're being distracted from. You know, you can't claim anymore that the genocide is the, you know, is the secret. It used to be a lot worse. You know, prior to the October 7th false flag, where no friars were killed or taken hostage, it was very taboo. You weren't allowed to talk about it. It wasn't like shoved in your face every chance you could get, or every chance they could get. It was, you know, the whole thing was just, I don't know, it was just different. They weren't as braggadocious. You know, they weren't. The way I see it, again, is they clearly want us talking about it. You know, if you look at, you compare the time frames, you compare prior to October 7th and afterward, you see a dramatic difference in how it's all being presented to us. Sorry, I gotta get this picture. You had to move. You damn animals always know when they're about to get their picture taken. So stupid. Uh, you know, I like I say, the fact is, we're being distracted, and we're being distracted from the unifier. I shared a picture the other day that showed a woman holding a sign that said "pedo," looking, and a man, a white woman holding a sign, and a black dude with a gun pointed at somebody. And it represented what I keep talking about, right? Like they know that the unifier is the pedophilia. That we will unify against their shit. And there's nothing that they can do with that. You know, they can usually spin things, they can usually cry in different ways, and wow, look at this. We're getting a big old spam from literally three different accounts. So 3 different accounts, all at the same time, start spamming the same bullshit. Do you guys not see what that is? Especially at the time of, you know, look at what I'm talking about. You would think that they would be happy with me saying that the genocide is the distraction and stuff like that, but it seems like they get really upset. But you see this shit happening, and like, how could you explain it? You think it's just three people sitting in a room together? They just like trolling YouTube, so they the one of them like stumbles across my feed and is like, "Oh shit, guys, check this out." And so the other two check it out. Like, okay, let's find it. And then they come here and they just start like, "What are we gonna do?" Well, let's spam. Stop doing drugs over and over again. We'll all do the exact same text. That won't look weird at all, right? Like, you really think that's just some regular guys did that? You really don't think that's a prime example of the act.il Rise app or Team Jorge system sort of tripping on itself? Like, why be so obviously stupid? And this is exactly what I'm saying. They present us with the obvious thing to distract us. If they do the obvious thing with the troll, like, I'm supposed to talk about that instead. I'm not supposed to keep talking. I'm not supposed to talk about the thing we're being distracted from. I'm supposed to talk about the distractions. That's why Netanyahu is always on TV. They're not trying to prevent us from talking about that shit. They want us talking about that shit. Because if we're talking about that, then, like, unbelievably, there's denial potential in there. You see them constantly saying, "Oh, there's no genocide." What genocide? What are you talking about? Netanyahu's saying these dumb things and saying them in such an obviously dumb, insensitive, antagonistic sort of way. Same thing with Mark Rubiostein, Trumpstein. Same thing with all these guys. The way they speak, they're not oblivious to how they're perceived. They know they're being perceived as the fucking cucks they are, and everything like that. They want us to then say that shit. If we sit here and we talk about Mark Rubio and, did you guys see what Mark Rubio said? Oh my goodness. Did you guys see what Trumpstein said? He's so crazy. Look at him. He's crazy. He's losing his mind. He has dementia. He shits himself. Blah, blah, blah. All that shit. They love it. They love it. Because at no point are you then saying, yeah, and then metzitzia, right? We need to end that. That happens between 3,000 and 3,600 times per year in New York alone. That's unacceptable. We need to do something about that. You know that Mishnah Nada is happening constantly. The Bottom of Darkness article in Israel Hayom lays it all out for you. You can call me crazy all day long. Search Israel Hayom Bottom of Darkness and just read it. I suggest you read it more than once because it's a lot more telling when you like, the problem with the article is it's so stunning that you're almost distracted by the one part you read, that you're just reading through it still like, holy shit, about the previous thing, and you miss some things. it took me a long time, 4 or 5 reads before I was like, hey, wait a minute. The doctors at the end are the worst part. That's fucking weird. Ask Gemini just appears on my phone. That's fucking crazy. I mean, look at this. Look at these are joined 6 months ago, 0 subscribers. Joined 6 months ago, 0 subscribers. Joined 3 months ago, 0 subscribers. I mean, the point in the spam texting is to prevent any real comments from getting through. So if they just keep spamming, if one of you happens to comment, I'm going to miss it because it gets lost in the roll going so fast. But this is it's not accidental. They're not accidentally looking like fucking dumbasses. They're not accidentally saying the quiet part out loud. They want everybody focused on Israel. They want people talking about Zionism and saying things like, you're conflating Zionism and Judaism. You're conflating Israel and Judaism. When all you have to do is pay attention to what they say. Look at Michael Rappaport. Listen to the things he said. Same thing with Seinfeld. Same thing with John Lovitz. Same thing with all these pieces of shit. They say it all the time. If you don't support Israel, you're against the Jewish people. They're telling you the truth. Right? Israel doesn't exist. Israel is just a construct. Israel doesn't have any power. Israel isn't a thing. Israel can't vote. Israel can't say anything. Israel is just the place where they live. It's the cult that they want to remain in the shadows. Show me the one group out there of them that's demanding an end to Mishnah Nada. I mean, if you just read the Bottom of Darkness article, you see how even the good guys sound pretty awful. Well, the police just don't have the resources to be able to properly investigate. The Israeli police don't have the resources. That's just a joke. Five viewers, 7 likes, and then multiple friars are on here. It's always interesting, isn't it? For somebody that's wrong, somebody that's crazy. Get down. There sure seems to get down. Get down. There sure seems to be a lot of fucking effort that goes into me. The way that this is even happening, it's too fast for humans to do it. One person spamming. Yeah, I don't think that's one person. The way these are coming through, like you can't hit, move it to the spot, hit paste over and over. You can't copy and paste, or you can't just paste and play and post that quickly. We're talking about less than a second in between each one. So it's pretty obvious what's happening. And again, what think about the level of fear it would take for you to do that. fearful of me saying something, reaching people, support being shown both ways, like all of it. They're fearful of our unity. And that's, again, what it all comes down to. Yeah, you're right. I probably should. Well, block them. I just don't like blocking people because they provide such a great example of what I'm talking about. It's a hell of a lot easier to prove my point when there's a bunch of evidence, right? And I think they might get more points if I block them. Well, I guess, yeah, that's probably what we should do. I don't know. I want to see how long they'll go. Tel Aviv bots, indeed. Who else would it be? Seriously, you have to ask yourself, who else would it be? Who else is going to obsess over me like this? And fear me like this? Especially when you look at what I'm talking about. Talking about Israel is a great way to have a decent sized feed. Tula! It's enough. He doesn't want to play anymore. You're too big. Talking about Israel doesn't get you in trouble anymore. And this, again, it just keeps recycling the same point. They clearly want us focused in this direction. You're going to come on all day. Oh, yeah. Ken's dumbass was here within 30 seconds. And I challenge anybody. Just tell me what it is instead. Tell me what I'm wrong about. If I'm wrong, then explain it. Make it make sense in some other way. Okay. To me, it all seems really obvious. And it all circles back to the pedophilia. The pedophilia crosses all boundaries. It crosses all belief structures, all races, all whatever. They know their numbers are so small that they can't discriminate against members. They're so outnumbered. They have to, they can't turn away somebody just because they don't look the part or whatever. And granted, I'm not saying that all of them are equal in each other's eyes by any means. But when when I'm talking about what I think this needs to lead to is, what's up, Scotland? Is changing of the rules and laws and shit, that the elimination of them is it is expected. Like, you get lured. I don't think you can be lured, right? I don't think you can be lured into, like, there's nothing you could do to lure me to go to a 14-year-old's house looking for, just ugh. And anybody that claims that, like, that should be it. You show up, you could be the nicest guy in real life. Oh, you just made a mistake today. You left your this, that, and the other. No, man. You need to be killed. Okay? You need to be killed. Oh, look, they changed the program. Oh, well, if they're saying those things, then they must not be Israel. They're saying free Palestine. Israel is genocidal. They're saying that, so that it couldn't possibly be Israel doing it. Gosh, good thing we're stupid, huh? Like, this is what they expect. Hide it out in the open. Because most people are so dumb nowadays that they can be successful hiding right in front of everybody. It's time we step up and put an end to that. You know, if anybody can tell me what's wrong with anything I'm saying and maintain the argument and show me that I'm wrong, like, cool, man, let's do that. I don't want to be the guy that thinks this way. Do you need to go outside, Tula? All right, let's go. Go on. Go on. Are you going or what? Thinking about it. Let's go. Come on. You get out of here. Hey, stop it. I guess you're not going outside. Stop it. Oh. Look at this shit. Are you guys convinced? Are you guys convinced that they're not Israeli bots because they're spamming what they're spamming? Shut up. It's been fun. Can you talk to this friend? You gotta go, right?
You really bad.
Right, so hurry up so I don't pee on you. We'll save that for later. Jordan, Captain Obvious over here. Yeah, I see what I mean? Like, it's obvious who it is. They're just hoping we're stupid. They're hoping we don't see it. And again, it you have to rethink your whole process here. You have to rethink how you see this. You're against the genocidal state. Sure you are. Sure you are. So why are you here? 3 different accounts, spamming the same dumb nonsense. Make it make sense. Make everybody understand, and then nobody will think the bad of you. Really comes down to what makes sense here. Knowing how the friars operate, right? Nothing is surprising anymore. Oh, now you want to speak in code? Stop it. You want to speak in codes now? Okay. I'm completely convinced half of YouTube chat is Mossad bots. Yeah, for sure. Huh? Okay, here. Hold it. Yeah, I haven't seen Dave in a minute.
I don't know. Check Nick's first. Hi, kitty. Meow. Oh. Kitty. Meow.
Nope.
No, kitty. No, kitty. Bad kitty, no, kitty. Oh, my goodness. Did you feed him this morning? And when I say, did you feed him this morning? He's got food all the time. He just gets extra soft food because he's a spoiled little brat.
He's a teenager, so he's eating like a monster.
He is a monster. He just keeps running through his...
Literally. Oh, here we go again. Back to the identifier. you got anything growing? Of course not.
What?
Not from flower green. Takes you down from real life. Wow, I mean, isn't it way early? Unless you have, I guess, autoflowers, but they still wouldn't be ready by now, would they?
Why are you putting that upstairs?
Because the cord doesn't work out there for some reason. Sorry, princess. Your YOUR using Palestine for content. That's me. Because you hear me sing Palestine, 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 right? Oh, you know, in Spanish because you're pro-Israel. Yep, making money. Yes, that's me. Rich man over here. Making money off of Palestine. I always love it when people say shit like that. Like, you know how much easier it would be for me to get attention, make money, do all the claims if I just start telling everybody there's a Jesus? Or pretend to be pro-Trump. You know, those guys love fanatically supporting each other. Or even pro-Israel. Wouldn't that make things a lot easier for me? But you have to ask, why would anybody like do that? Why would anybody be a fake, you know, make multiple fake accounts? How do you make fake accounts? You make all these fake accounts and then do the spam thing. Like, what world does that make sense? In what way is that ever seen as positive? It's interesting how it's all presented, and you're supposed to fall for it, right? You're supposed to fall for it, and then as soon as you call it out, you know, there's no logic that comes back, you know, at me. There's nothing like that. Instead, it's just stupidity. Your YOUR fake Palestinian supporter. Your fake Palestinian supporter. Sounds like somebody that has a hard time sprechen Sie English. Gosh, we sure are pushing all the, you know, checking all the telltale not even Israeli bot, but Israeli motivated or backed opposition. They're the only ones I've seen such a hard time with the your, especially the your. And there, they're just as bad with the there. Now I think about it, but because English isn't their first language, right? So they have a hard time with those, you know, those tricky ones. They're all spelled the same. They all sound the same, but they're spelled differently. It's almost like we can set a trap like that, right? It's always how you can identify these people. You know, there's a standard dumb American, but they're just dumb and lazy, and they get a lot more wrong. These guys really only get those difficult, you know, can't remember, because it's so hard to know which your to use. Look at this shit. What a dumbass. How do you say free Palestine to the Lebanese people? How do you say free Lebanon to the Iranians? How do you say free Iran to the Palestinians? Everybody needs to be free of the cancer. They all have the same enemy. And it's not Israel. Israel isn't in Hollywood, Dan Schneider raping children left and right. Epstein, Weinstein. This isn't Israel. Israel didn't have 71 girls and their chaperones emerge from the sewer systems 2 months ago. And nobody's talking about it. A month ago, maybe. Israel doesn't commit metzitzia 3,000 to 3,600 times a year in New York alone. Israel is just a place. Zionism, another one of these things that they tell us to focus on because that's what they want us to focus on. Zionism can be made to look like it's the evil side, it's the bad side. Oh, you're mixing Zionism and Judaism. No, you're mad at Zionism, not Judaism. And that's how they keep it all under wraps. That's how they keep everybody stupid. You're not looking at things as you should be. You're looking at what they want you to see. And that's dangerous. Especially with the way that we go. We fall in line as we're supposed to because of it. All you stupid ass fucking Christians out there. You were made to believe in something that makes you second class in your own shit. You're the second class citizen. You're the second class. You're the slave. If you're look at the Bible, you're either chosen or you're a slave. That's it. It's not Naruto. It's Digimon. William. Who's William? So stupid. Again, they just keep outing themselves. It's obvious. I guarantee if you look up the IP addresses from this page, they're all Tel Aviv. They love to pretend like they're not them, and we're just. Who's awake? Good morning. She's been waiting for you. Put that down. Would be great is after you were done, hurry up and get that done. But after you're done, you take her for the walk. Tootie, stop it. Yeah, I left you enough room. Make sure when you're done, you take that out to the street, okay? Thanks, bud. And put the box back on top of the garbage. You want money? Still asking you why you're here to begin with. That's what I'd like you to start with. Why are you here? How did you get here to begin with? 3 separate accounts all at the same time? Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Israel. See that Gwyneth Paltrow bullshit? Or Brooklyn. They're everywhere. Stop it. Stop it. They're everywhere. Stop it. You know what you should do? You should make a Guy Williams Sucks video. With your no content, your 6-month-old pages. Well, 2 of the 3. Take 5-10 minutes, and as the talking head, like this. Don't. We don't need a video of my clips or something stupid. Show your face. Show us what you look like, and tell everybody exactly what I'm wrong about. And then come back, let us know you made it, and I'll play it live. I'll play it live without watching it first, so I don't know what you're gonna say or do. Hopefully you follow the guidelines so we don't have to edit you out by cutting it off. I posted to my Palestinian friends. I'm sure they will haunt you. I record it. Okay, you record it. Okay. I record it. I'll make a video. You'll see. Do it. Take 10 minutes. Make it real quick. Upload it. And then let us know. Let me know, and I'll play it live. I don't understand. Like, what more can I do to give you an upper hand here? Seems like I'm trying to give you the best options possible. And for me to be wrong and you to be right, you would think you'd jump, all over that. They're, THERE, trying to build a prison. I don't know what that means. We're already in a big, giant, open-air prison. Wrong there again. THEIR. Weird. Now suddenly I promise I'm a pro-Palestinian supporter is now saying, you Goyim, saying, spelling it wrong, of course, but watch your ways, though I force you to do nothing. Oh, okay. There. THEY apostrophe RE. They are. Yeah, no, that's what all of the data centers are. People think they're building these data centers when they're not. They're building detention camps. It's actually really fucking terrifying. I'm terrified what the next year holds for us. They like their 100-year cycles, and we're coming up on the 29, but I don't think they're going to wait. I don't think they can wait. As I'll listen to you, like, well, here, careful where you stand. Sands of time, I died here. Who the fuck talks like this? What are you talking about, dude? Just speak normally. Just make a point like a normal person, especially if you want people to pay attention to you. I don't know, just talking like you're I don't know, some higher than thou jackasses at work in real life. And we the people must die, they thee. And weird. Yeah, I'm extremely worried about, the vision. I see it. The robot dogs coming down the street, one of which has a speaker on its back, You know, every 5 of them, every 5th one has a speaker on its back. And, you know, the first one, second one, they have machine guns on their back. The third one has a grenade launcher on its back. And they come down the street and this neighborhood has been designated to be relocated. We need everybody to leave all of their stuff. Your house will be locked and taken care of. Come with us. You'll be escorted out and transported to a new location. Please do not bring anything, you know, you cannot carry. You know, everything will be handled accordingly. And you know, how many times, how many of those prepper neighbors do you think you need to see and they you know, shoot at one of the dogs or whatever, and then the dogs just react. They go bust the door in, fire a grenade into the house, you know, whatever it is, go trample in. You hear some gunshots and you see that the dog pulls the body out, lays it on the front lawn. How many times do you think you need to see that before you just comply? Oh, look at this dumbass. I'm telling you, could this person be more Israeli? Stop. Stop. And your dumbass Jesus isn't going to do a goddamn thing about it. That's what they want. They want you sitting there hoping. Ow! Stop it! What's wrong with you? They want you praying for the Jewish guy to show up and fix it all for you. The savior of mankind. They're waiting, you know. It's all bullshit. It's all in an effort to control us. They're gonna round us up. They're gonna. I don't know. I don't like to speculate because I can't. I have no idea what they're capable of or anything like that. The only thing I know is that we need to unify so we can prevent that from happening. And it doesn't seem to be a viable option at this point. You know, the thing about every Trump supporter is nobody makes them be a Trump supporter. They choose to continue to support a man who's a rapist. I don't even know all of it. I haven't bothered to look into all of it. I've heard videos. I've heard people talk about it. You know, I've seen lots of shit. 36 some charges, whatever it is. All I know is they're there. It exists. And, you know, I always tell you guys, like, don't focus on Trump. Trump's an idiot. Good way to help the stream, keep up the spam, right? Trump's a fucking idiot. He's a trophy piece. He does what he's told, when he's told, how he's told to do it. It's not Trump that scares me. You know? It's the Trumpanzees that scare me. The people so delusional. The thing about the Trumpanzees is they're actually on a very similar page as the rest of us are in certain regards. Like they really think the system is fucked up and that, some shit needs to be done to protect us from the system and all that. But they just don't think that Trump's a part of that system. And they're delusional and they're racist and all these other pieces of it. Yeah, it was. I'm sorry, you have to deal with me.
Did Dickhead sabotage the board?
I don't know, maybe.
Keep putting up by the concert.
Yeah, I do too, but last night I forgot to. I don't know. I can't imagine he cares that much. But then again, I mean, look at the feed. You'd be surprised what people will do. You are correct, my brother. Christ will not lift a finger against you. My brother, Christ will not lift a finger against you. Well, Christ will not lift a finger to help me either. You know why? Because Christ isn't real. It's so frustrating. They're waiting for, they're not like, let's unify and be our own saviors. They're waiting for the Jewish guy who is the savior to come fix the problem. Yet I will, my Father bless. What are you talking? I see what I mean? Like, it's weird how Christians always start speaking in a different language.
I was gonna say they don't speak English.
Well, they speak English. It's just like this weird-ass version of it where you know what words they're saying. They just don't fit any of the conversation that's being had. They sound like they don't hear anything. They're having their own conversation in their own head. And it's just, it's a great example of how stupid you absolutely have to be a cult member, to be a Christian cult member. Christianity isn't known for its brilliance. And I've been doing this since long before there was even a social media. I've been speaking out against Christianity and the church and all the distraction. I play. What's up, Matt? I played into the distraction as well as anyone could, right? Chastising my brothers and sisters over their own stupidity. And I can't even tell you hundreds, thousands of conversations I've had with people claiming to be Christian. And not one time. and really, when I say I've had conversations with them, the vast majority of the time, I'm saying things. They're saying things and like that they pick and choose which things that they're sort of going to respond to, but then I pick apart what they say, pick apart their comment, sentence by sentence, whatever it is, piece by piece, and then they just jump to the next thing, and then they just jump to the next thing. I've never had a Christian like sit there and just make decent points and sound like a reasonable, decent human being. And really, I've only had a few conversations in my life where somebody actually was like, okay, I believe this, you believe that, let's sit down and have a discussion about it. Like most of the time it's just drive-by comments. Just crybaby bullshit. But I can think of one conversation I had with a guy in Northern California, McKee Brew 1, you can find him. He's actually a pretty great rapper. I don't know if he's still a rapper. He was a great rapper. I'm sure he's a musician of some sort. I'm assuming he's still rapping. And then the Jehovah's actually had reasonable conversations with me. Twice. Once more so than another time, but one time a guy, this old white dude who was walking with the stereotype black group, he sat and talked with me for maybe an hour. But then the other time I had the table out, I had the chairs, I got some waters, and I asked him to sit and have a conversation with me. And we sat for like 2 hours. It was really great. Although it was very stereotypical Christian, you know, avoidance, arrogance, stupidity. Like, it's a weird mix, but it's always the same. It's always, there's never any deviation from it. I never leave the conversation with like, oh, I need to look this up, and they made a good point about that, or whatever. And it's not like I avoid their points. I actually like to address what they have to say. But it's not done in reverse. It's not reciprocated at all. Like I said, I'm really tired today. Woke up super early. Couldn't get back to sleep. No, I just feeling weak and overrun and run down. Are you a genocidal supporter as well?
Genocide is your thing.
I mean, it's just weird because it's like, other than an Israeli, who is going to be so obviously stupid? Like, if there's anything more obvious than my hatred for religion on this feed, is the pedophile side, I guess, the hatred for pedophiles. But like the genocide, we talk about that literally all the time. And yet this dumbass is so Israeli incapable of adjusting, of making, you know, this is what they were assigned to come here with. Pretend to be the Palestinian supporter and stop. There's a kid downstairs. Go play with the kid, goddammit. Stuttering fool. Nothing wrong with stuttering. I mean, it sucks if you have it and shit. Watch out, you're gonna get killed. Stop it. Why don't you take this thing downstairs with you? 4 viewers, 10 likes. It totally makes sense, doesn't it? Stop it. Stop, weirdo. Stop it. You cannot steal the fucking cord. He keeps trying to bite it and run off. He spams the same shit over and over. He's fucking stuttering. I mean, stuttering is like an actual affliction, and it's something that sucks. I would hate to offend or upset someone that stutters, because I'm trying to make a point, but not using the right wording. He's not stuttering at all. He's spamming, he's repeating, he's a fucking moron. But I'm not going to call anybody stuttering anything. Like, that's weak-ass Howard Stern, not really talented, but needs to get, ratings. Oh, this is Stuttering John. How clever is that? Why do you call him that? Well, because he stutters. Yeah, here. Hang on.
Hello, Spitty.
I stutter and am not illiterate nor a spammer. There's an example. Yeah, I mean, I didn't need an example, but yeah, I known plenty of people that stutter. What an awful affliction. It's not like it's something you choose. At the end of the day, friar is something you choose. Moron is something you choose. Nobody's like, man, I sure wish I could stutter. Like, shit sucks. And it's like, it's too easy. Why am I gonna, you stutter? I can't think of anything more, worthy of my witty retorts than the thing that's right there in front. Like, it's just cowardly. I don't know. I interview professional fighters about the worst moments of their lives and how they got through it on here on YouTube. That's great. I'm very interested in something like that. Yeah, I think the whole concept of fighting is shocking. Like, I'm a huge fight fan, but especially the older I get, the more I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Watching two people just give themselves CTE for my entertainment so they can feed their families and shit. Like, that's fucking weird.
I'm back.
Mm-hmm. And you see it all the time where somebody gets fucked up, like, for life. We've gotten really good at controlling the scene nowadays, so if somebody gets fucked up, the stretcher comes out, pulls them outside of the ring before the cameras really start focusing on it, and they don't let that tragedy in the ring thing happen like they used to. And there's something about two people, getting themselves in peak physical condition and then seeing whose skills stand up. Like, there's something to it, but it is fucking weird. It's fucking weird. It's also extremely weird how every fighter, every one of them is like super religious. I'm ashamed of all of you dumbasses that fell for Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland has the advantage of white privilege, unlike so many people and so many of his contemporaries. Yes, you're a coward. Sure, is that what you want? I don't fucking know.
Protect me. Go get her.
Oh, too bad.
He jumped on her back.
That was funny. That was Willie. Willie used to do that to Tosh. To Reed Ryder. He got him bite her neck.
He's back. Yeah, I thought he was gonna. And so many of these fighters, the crazy part with fighting is like what we see is 1% of those who do it. These guys at the highest levels, sure, they make a shit ton of money, life-changing money. But to get to that point, these guys are fighting in dingy little places. You know, they might get a couple of $100.
Look at, he's got Woody. He's carrying Woody. Where are you going with that?
Downstairs.
No, Tula's gonna eat it.
Yep. You are right, Cece.
Skinny! Here, shake this. It'll go back.
I will.
Here, put it. I'm gonna be crazy about it.
Two viewers, 10 likes. Clearly more than two people commenting. Yeah, he's got his Woody down there. He's good. You've never been in a fight in your life. What are you talking about? It's just so... The desperation that's continuously shown. When you can't argue someone's point, you make up something to argue. It's so... It's just what you guys do.
About 10 years, 11 years since you got to the fight.
I'm not gonna fight.
I mean, yeah. You hit him, he hit the ground. You hit him a few more times.
No, that time I got, you know, I hit him, he went down, and then the dog got behind me. And, you know, the girls were hitting me. There he is, he's got Woody. I'd say the closer thing was Ed, but even then, that wasn't even a fight.
No, and that was like 14 years ago.
Boo-hoo, white privilege this, white privilege that, in the middle of a combat sport. Yeah, because racism isn't a part of combat sports in the slightest.
Not in the United States. At all.
Right.
What was that white boy they kept touting? That the most recent one, not Conan.
Connor?
Connor.
Yeah. I was going to say that initially, because that's who I thought you meant right off the bat, but I wasn't sure. But as soon as you said, who's that white boy, I knew you meant Connor.
It's the most recent, but there's always
There's actually a lot more of them. Like, you know, you're just not you're not in that world, so you don't pay attention. But Tom Aspinall is another great example of white privilege, white. You know, I mean, it's just Dana white privilege is the epitome of it. But it's not even him. You know, the racism in fight sports, boxing has been the epitome of it. The term "great white hype" is from boxing. But to me, there's like two different boxings. There's the boxing that we don't, even though we had cameras, and the heavyweight champion was the peak. Like the heavyweight champion is the greatest sportsman of all, the heavyweight boxing champion. That's how we've seen it for ever. And not just like the boxing, but like he's the guy of all sports, of all everything, all actors, the man is the heavyweight champion of the world. And you know, we had the ability to record things since well into the 18s. And yet when it comes to the old boxing footage, we don't have any of it. Nobody ever thought to, like the term battle royale initially is supposed to have been a thing where rich white guys would get a bunch of black boys together, put them in a ring with a blindfold on, and the last man standing was the one that won. That's where that term comes from. And to me, it just seems shocking that nobody ever thought to film that. Like, that just doesn't make sense. I don't know, I'm having such a hard time with any of it anymore. It's difficult. It's difficult when it comes to my kids because I really want them to just know what they're supposed to know and get the good grades and don't make the same mistakes. And, you know, being the conspiracy guy, like, does nothing for you. It gets you in trouble. So don't repeat the same mistakes as your dad, but how do I tell him to be stupid? I can't help it that when we go to the museum, you know, it's just so shocking to walk around and see the shit that's presented to you and just go, you know, not ask the simple questions. How was this built? That to me is such a poignant question when it comes to fucking anything. I mean, you can go in my video section of this channel and you'll see me at Henry Ford Museum, and I'm at the certain sections where, like, you know, the generators, the way that they made power and shit. You know, you look at these huge machines and you think, like, okay, so they didn't have the ability to mass produce these things. They didn't have the factories that could mass produce things. Yet they clearly had to mass produce the things for them to exist as they did, and then for there to be parts, to be able to be fixed. So it's just, you look at it and you look at it from far away and it looks incredible, but when you get up close, you know, the Allegheny railroad engines. These were the biggest railroad engines ever built. Yeah. And there's only one of them left in the world, and it's at the Henry Ford Museum. And, like, you stand next to this thing, and you're just dwarfed by it. I mean, it's so fucking big. It's bigger than you think it is. Even if I'm saying this thing's huge, you don't realize how big this thing is. And, you know, it had this automatic screw-driven coal supply system. It's where the coal, you know, the screw drive would bring the coal into the fire pit continuously. So no, they didn't have to explain somebody taking the shovel and throwing in it. But then, I'm, you know, must be fucking stupid or something, because I look at that and I think, like, that must have burned through so much goddamn coal. Where was all the coal coming from? Where were they getting the coal supplies from? How were they delivering the coal supplies? Those trains were specifically designed to pull the mile-long trains for transporting coal. Right? So, like, where did they get their shit from? The whole thing is just, it's so crazy. But then you get up close to that thing, and you look at the underside, and you look at the inner workings that you can even see. I mean, there's so much more to it that you can't see. The little turny knobs. All the working pieces. Those pieces goes bad. How does it get replaced? How do they, you know, all of it is just so incredible. The problem too is like I'm so fascinated by all this shit, and I like talking about it to a degree. But then I always feel stupid talking about it because I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the thing that really matters. Okay, so for some reason they're called the 2666 trains, which you would think they would have back then gone out of their way to avoid the 666 moniker. But that's because you're dumb and you don't realize that it wasn't until the 80s that the whole 666 devil worshiper, that whole idea was presented to us and prolificated. You don't realize though that you think about it like, oh, they must have been, scared of the devil worshiping this, that, and the other. No, that's not a common thing. That had to be introduced to us in the 80s, and it was only introduced to us in the 80s because it was starting to come out. Like the whole friar narrative was starting to get exposed. It's you're if you're old enough, your parents, but your parents, your grandparents, they didn't like the friars. They knew to keep their mouths shut, but they were making jokes. Like it's interesting how when I was a kid, black jokes, gay jokes, and friar jokes were pretty commonplace. You would hear them all the time. They're the biggest beneficiary of the PC movement.
So common.
Yeah, but even still, like two gay guys going to a bar kind of thing. Like you would hear that stuff all the time. You would hear, oh, the priest goes into, oh, a rabbi goes into. You'd hear those jokes all the time. You don't hear that shit anymore.
Well, I have a friend that tells jokes, and quite often there's had stuff like that. But she's a Gen Xer.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Right.
I don't see 20-year-olds posting those sometimes.
Right, because they're the biggest beneficiaries of the PC movement. We still hear all kinds of dumb women jokes and shit like that. Gay jokes, all that stuff still exists, but to talk about them just doesn't exist. And when we were growing, like your parents, your grandparents, they made gay jokes all the time.
Oh, I didn't know your friend Amanda Ray lives in a fucking trailer park.
She's not my friend. But
she is. You went to school with her.
She's not my friend. I didn't even know her in school. I only know of her through Michael, and I don't know who she is. I don't ever think I hung out with her, not once. She's the first person Michael slept with. That's why I know who she is.
The Tilly?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But where are the Epstein tapes? Israel's so disgustingly violent.
And for her to live in a trailer is not surprising in the slightest.
No.
I would have been more surprised if you said she didn't. So, these 2666 trains, like, that's what I mean. Like, they didn't try to hide that shit back then because it wasn't a necessity. People weren't scared of 666 like they are now. This is all shit that years of the programming, through the TV, through the media machine, has programmed this thought into your head, these thoughts, and you think that it's all sort of universal and been around forever. It just wasn't. So the 2666 Lotomoka, the 2666 in White Notion is an articulated locomotive type with 2 leading wheels, 2 sets of 6 driving wheels, and 6 trailing wheels. Only 2 classes of the 2 666 type were built. One was the Allegheny class, built by Lima Locomotive Works. Then the name comes from the locomotive's first service with the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad beginning in 1941, where it was used to haul loaded coal trains over the Allegheny Mountains. The other was the Blue Ridge class for the Virginia Railway. These were some of the most powerful reciprocating steam locomotives ever built at 7,500 horsepower, 7,500 horsepower, which was exceeded only by the Pennsylvania Railroad Class Q2 in indicated horsepower, and one of the heaviest at 386 tons for the locomotive itself, plus 215 tons for the loaded tender. That is fucking insane. This is the one that's at Henry Ford. I actually did a video about it, but like you can see what I'm talking about. You can't see how big this is. That little podium right there, that basically comes up to like, that's like a 5-foot podium. Maybe 4-foot podium. The one right there in the middle. You see, yeah. But like you look in, you can see, you can see all the little rivets and shit that are in there. Those are rivets. That means a hot piece of metal was put there while it was hot, banged in place, and then it cooled, forming that bond. Anytime you see rivets in something, you it's like you have to question how they got there. You know, you've seen the things with the guys and in the cartoons, you've seen that. But it's not what you think. Rivets are hot. Like they're not easy to put in place. That's why they last forever, because you know the process, you know, combines the metal, bonds them together. Just look at this. Just look at all of the intricate little details. All the screws, all the valves, all the little pieces that have to all work in conjunction with each other. And if anything fails, this big monster machine is set off to the side. That wheel right there, that back wheel, that wheel is at least 4 feet tall. Think about who is building this shit. What factories exist that build this? How did they get this technology? Who was like, let me design this shit. I'm going to make this thing and then we're going to just build it up and it's only going to run for a few years. Well, let's see the history of it. External video. Allegheny, most powerful steam locomotive. Again, you can't fathom the size in these pictures. If you could see a person standing next to it, you that might help it. Like, this shit is just so fucking big. That engine itself is so fucking big. It's just crazy. 2 classes of 2 666 locomotives were built. The 60, there were 60 of them. H8 Allegheny class locomotives for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad Company, C&O, between 41 and 48. Between 1941 and 1948, they built 60 of these things. 41 to 48, that's 7 years. So they're building like roughly 9 a year. I mean, again, it all has to be. I don't know what automation exists back then. You know, all of the all of the materials that needed to be used to create these giant engines. And 8 AG Blue Ridge class locomotives for the Virginia Railroad, the Virginia Railway in 1945. In 1945, they built 8 of them. Just this one. Let's just build these, and then let's not do it ever again. The locomotives were Series AG on the Virginian. This was the abbreviation for articulated Series G, not any. Okay. All were built by the Lima Locomotive Works. The Allegheny name refers, okay, blah, blah, blah. Although it is apparent to many knowledgeable people in the railroad industry that reciprocating piston drive steam locomotives might soon be replaced by diesel power, the company set out to build the ultimate in high power steam locomotives, and they succeeded. No diesel engine ever surpassed the output of these giants, which were among the heaviest steam locomotives ever constructed. Right? We don't build anything like that today. Back in 41, no problem.
Trump calls Wayne County and Detroit one of America's most corrupt voting areas after Abdul El-Sayed wins.
Yeah, beat out Haley Stevens. They spent $35 million on her. Oh, the cool kids on the hill making fun of the way I talk. Oh, she's so awful. The 3-axle trailing truck supporting the firebox was unusual, carrying over 190,000 pounds, allowing the huge firebox needed for the high power. As it turns out, steam locomotives continued in service for almost another 20 years. Gene Huddleston's book, C&O Power, reports the test of the C&O with the dynamometer car, indicating momentary readings of, I don't care about the horsepower. The state of calibration of the dynamometer is not known. The state of calibration of the dynamometer car is not known. The calculated starting tractive effort was only, like, this is that fluff bullshit that they put in every story. When you're trying to learn about the history of something, they fill it full of these dumbass details that don't actually answer your questions or don't, have nothing to do with what you cared about. I'm looking up the history of this shit. I'm not stuck on the horsepower and how they got those readings, but apparently it could travel about 45 miles per hour. 45 mile an hour train that was 386 tons. Just the engine itself.
That's huge.
Huge. I wish you would. You gotta come with me one day. You gotta see it. It's fucking insane. The locomotive was built to power coal trains on the 0.57% eastward climb from White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia to Allegheny, Virginia, with one at the front and another at the back. That's crazy. That's just crazy. And we're at full throttle from White Sulphur Springs to the top of the grade of Allegheny. CNO is 2666. Also handled coal trains, blah, blah, I don't care. While delivering the first group of locomotives in 1941, Lima miscalculated and misrepresented the H8's weight. Maintenance crews recalculated the weight and discovered that the H8's weight of 771,300 pounds, which was thousands of pounds heavier than Lima first claimed. So, again, the railroad lines that existed were just able to handle that? And the delivery of multiple of these engines. How? did they build special train tracks from the factory to the like? It just the whole story seems weird, and I bet there's no footage of it. The interstate system may have done that. The train's crews that worked with the H8s, who were getting paid based on the locomotive's weight on the driving wheels at the time, started seeing this misrepresentation as an attack on their livelihood. The CNO was forced to pay the crews thousands of dollars to make up for lost payment and subsequently sued Lima for over $3 million in 1944. That's a lot of money today. It's probably like, $50 million at today's money. I don't know, but probably a lot. Multiple unit operation in the diesel era removed the need to pack the highest horsepower in a single unit. The H8's 80,000 plus pound axle load demanded heavy rail and track structure. One H8, the 1642, weird that it was called that, suffered a crown sheet failure and subsequent boiler explosion at Hinton, West Virginia in June of '53. The force of the explosion rocketed the boiler off the running gear toward the rear, killing all three crew. While these locomotives had two sources of water for the boiler room, God damn it. A steam turbine pump fed Worthington hot. What the fuck? Got a hair. Please help me pray for this man. Yeah, all your prayers haven't been working so far. What do you think? There's just not enough of them? God's like, yeah, Ken's one of my favorites, but him praying for Guy just isn't working. I'm going to need a few more people to start praying for Guy before I do anything about it. Isn't it weird to think your prayers aren't working? And yes, God does sound like that. I think a lot of people are disappointed when they get up to heaven and God's like, hello, welcome to heaven, bitches. Let's see. Well, he's looking at see one scene fire. It is not known whether they were defective at the time. So the history of this shit is now you're telling me about an explosion that happened. Can't find the actual construction or anything like that sort of history. So let's go back up to the Lima Locomotive Works. The LLW was an American firm that manufactured railroad locomotives from the 1870s through the 1950s. Think you'd have a more, I mean, that's 10 years each way. You'd think you'd have a more precise.
I'm the only one I know who's truly Judaism's savior. It's the bottom of darkness. Why are you so heartless? You're not very smart. You are of darkness. It's the bottom of darkness. They were driving.
The company's name is derived from the location of its main manufacturing plant in Lima, Ohio. I bet you Lima, Ohio was this booming, beautiful, probably has an incredible architecture and, buildings and all that shit. And then the works closed down in the 50s, so now it's probably like a shithole. Yep, big old city. In the years after the American Revolution, the Shawnee were the most powerful, prominent residents of West Central Ohio, growing in numbers and permanency after the 1794 Treaty of Greenville. By 1817, the United States had created the Hog Creek, just say something, I'll reach, reservation for the local Shawnee, covering portions of what would become Allen and Oglesby counties, and including part of present-day Lima. The creation of the Shawnee Reservation. I mean, so this was your entire land, but we're going to put you in this little shitty spot. We're going to call this your reservation. Right. The creation of the Shawnee Reservation freed other lands in the area for settlement. And in February 1820, the Ohio legislature formally established Allen County. In 1831, the Shawnee were forced to surrender all their land in the area to the United States and relocate to Kansas. It's amazing that Native Americans hate white people so much. I wonder why. So, in 1817, they created the reservation for them. And 13 years later, they had to move to Kansas. Because, traveling like that was really back then. Same shit every day. Yeah, you know me. I talk about Lima, Ohio all the time. Interesting how fucking desperate these guys are. No, I talk about these train engines and shit all the time, don't I? That's weird. I mean, you're here all the time, but these dumbass friars, man, they're just dumb as shit. What can you expect? Opening all of Allen County to settlement, the Ohio legislature mandated that a county seat be established, and Lima was the result. Lima was named after Lima, Peru's capital city. Yeah, why not? You see Lima, Ohio, you're like, this looks just like Peru. The name was reputedly chosen in a nod to the Peruvian capital, which, during the 1800s, was a major source of quinine and an anti-malaria drug for which there had been a demand in the region, an area well known as Great Black Swamp. He is literally requires worshiping of ignorance. Yeah, you said that before. Like word for word.
This is scary, but this is our reality. How is that not black and white enough for people to understand?
When Biden left office, $3.13 a gallon. Today it's $4.59. Light or electricity was 17.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Now it's 22.7 cents. Oil was $70 a barrel. It's now $124 a barrel. Water was $2.50 per bottle. Now it's $4.99 per bottle. Groceries on average was $116.35 per cart. Now it's $158.40 per cart, and it's way more than that. Beef was $5.50 per pound. Today it's $8.49 per pound.
That's crazy. Crazy.
So this is the Allen County Courthouse, right? Because shortly after the place was settled, they threw that bad boy out. You got it. And this is probably the second one because I'm sure the first one burnt down.
So beautiful. Allen County Courthouse. Where's that at?
Ohio. Since 1831, Lima has been the center of government for Allen County, and it's first of the 3 courthouses erected in the city's first year. They built that in year 1. In the first year of the city's existence, they slapped up that courthouse.
Picture cards into their products to show us what are now long forgotten wonders of the world of construction.
Historical building located on the corner. Looks a lot smaller than another picture.
Are being lied to about everything in our history.
Allen County was formed in 1820, and Lima was selected as its county seat. The first courthouse was a simple log structure consisting of 2 floors, a small hipped roof, and a single chimney. The courthouse served the county until 1840, when the county realized the space was not adequate for the growing population. Literally the same story, over and over. A contest, there we go. A contest was announced, and 17 bids were submitted. The contract was awarded to Orlando Broughton and was designed in the classical revival style. The amount was $13,325, and construction was underway. By who? Who was the construction company? Where did they get all their supplies from? How did they bring all that marble and shit in? The courthouse was 2 stories tall and was built out of brick and stone. Pilasters lined the facade between the long windows with dark shutters. The entrance was framed with 4 fluted Doric columns supporting a portico. A square drum rose from the roof and supported large rectangular windows capped with a dome ending in a weather vane. Always gotta have those weather vanes. Those, I swear, they're not etherical. Don't even think they are. The tower contained a large bell which rang periodically through the years, including the April 14th, of April in 1865, in honor of the slain president Abraham Lincoln. Like, there's a whole other theory behind the bells and why they were all rounded up. Rounded up and destroyed. Maybe the bells were a lot more significant than we realized. The courthouse standing today is the county's 3rd. It was built between 1881 and 1884 at a cost of $360,000 by architect George H. Mazel. The courthouse was designed in the Second Empire style, popular at the time. And that's that. That's the history of the courthouse. You want to know more about how it was built and shit? No, come on. Let's see who George H. Mazel is. Was a German American. Gotta love the Germans. It's always the same shit. Now, this might be somebody that we've actually read about before, because these guys will be the guys that design 60 courthouses and 75 other buildings, and you know, they're the hand behind so much and in so many different places. Sometimes, you know, multiple different states. They're designing and building buildings in multiple different states in the same year. July 31st, 1837 to May 25th, 1891. So what's that, 66 years? Or no, less than that, right? 91 minus 37. For 54 years. That's an amazing bunch of shit for such a short life, huh? Record-breaking private. He primarily designed buildings in Columbus, Ohio, including the 1887 Franklin County Courthouse. This is a different county courthouse. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh.
So if Charlie went all Obama and he said that quick touch,
Oh, it doesn't even look like a real picture.
literally, I meant the friar hugs and kisses and
This courthouse stood from 1900 to 1910.
when Hillary won but lost the election. And then she
Gotta love the power lines and shit that are all around it.
Bill's erection.
But it looks like a fake photo.
She was living on Epstein Island. And just like
Yeah,
Trump,
nobody in the picture, of course. No people. Oh, nope, there is a person. I can see a person.
did he really die?
It looks like a model.
Yeah.
1887.
To make
How
the
did you get to
country
the
this
point of murder?
because at the end of every day, we're all loyal.
With their cranes.
I just want to curb all of our enemies. In blue and white,
Look how there's no windows. There's no glass in the windows. You see that?
Yeah, I've always wondered that.
I mean, you have to consider weather. I mean, this is Ohio, so they had balls winter. How would they keep that place warm in the wintertime? We're talking about Ohio, where it gets to be in the 10s, in the 20s, over long periods of time. And if you say something about boilers or whatever, then the boilers have to be supplied with coal. Where's the coal supply coming from? And that coal supply would be for not just this building, but all the other buildings around it. I mean, look at the shadows. The shadows imply that at least one of these buildings is even taller than this one. But where's the windows at? And where'd the glass come from to fit those windows? And then if the windows aren't there, then how would the building even, like, what are you going to do in the summertime when there's bugs everywhere? How do you see anything on the inside of that building? Like, right, say in the middle of the building, on the second or third floor or whatever, in the middle of the building. Are you walking around with a candle, handling your court documents and shit? I mean, it don't make no sense. Look at this background. Liquor merchants. But look at the spire off in the background. What's this say? This says liquor merchants. I can't read what it says. Gore brands. There we go. Gerbrand, something. Ethnicity. Osentenji Club. Rye. Eastern Star Rye. Jameson. County Rye and Bourbon. Old Mill Rye and Bourbon. It's really weird. That's a big ass sign for all the alcohol they have for them. Look at what is this? And of course, there's the train tracks. All the train tracks just down the middle of the road. And these big metal poles that are just in the ground. Remember, this is all built by people on horses. These trains come from? Where'd these tracks come from? How'd these tracks get laid out in the middle of town? Oh, there you go. So this is 1900, right? So why is there electricity? wires? What are these, telephone wires? What kind of wires are these? Look at this.
Chan doesn't prove that your God is pissed. If you can prove I'm not your God's plan, then I'll say that's
Yeah,
proof.
these people are clearly fake.
Are they Lego guys?
There's something. Look at them. They don't look real.
Painted in?
Yeah, painted in, or just figures on the model. Really? They had bars on the windows all the way back then? I didn't think putting bars on your windows.
Screens.
No, but the bars here at the bottom, like the
Yeah.
don't break in here bars.
Born on
Probably
Christmas
keep
Day,
animals out.
you know, just like
Yeah,
your
me.
good
You would think you'd have to.
TBG.
I mean, even look at these light fixtures. Look how fantastic and spectacular they are. The whited out sky, of course. You can kind of see the image of a cloud sort of in there. Wow. Shit is insane.
This is about as petty.
I didn't even mean to come here. This was just. Maisel also the architect of Ohio's Allen, Madison, and Shelby County courthouses. This guy was building courthouses like they were fucking teepees and shit, just throwing them up. In 1876, the telegraph wires were invented. So that building was from 1897. So Lima, Ohio was full of telegraph wires, apparently. He was born in, this guy that designed it, was born in Zitterzoo, Saxony, present-day Germany, in 1837. In his early life, he worked for his parts. His parts? Maybe that's supposed to be parents? Who ran a small hotel in Zittau. He left for military service in 1885 to the city of Dresden. After serving, he stayed in the city to study mechanical engineering. He immigrated to the United States in 1863. He's pretty old. 26 years old. 23 years old. This was short after the golden age of Germany immigration between 1830 and 1860. Midwest cities, including Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, grew to have large German populations during this time. Of course. In the U.S., Maisel began architectural and engineering work in the province. During the American Civil War, he was engineer of the U.S. Arsenal in Providence and was enlisted under the command of Franz Siegel. Siegel in the house. All these dumb rappers, these black guys, naming themselves after Jewish mobsters. I always think of Jay-Z is better than we realize, and what he did to expose the shit by, creating the Rockefeller character and shit. He exposed a lot more than people realized, a lot earlier than people give him credit for. When the war ended, he moved to Pittsburgh and worked at Pittsburgh Automotive Works. He began He began working in civil engineering for the Pennsylvania Railroad and became a draftsman involved in constructing their workshops in Denison, Ohio in 1869. After a few months, Maisel came to Columbus and continued as a draftsman for the railway there for a year. A draftsman for the railway, and yet he somehow knew how to build fucking courthouse? I mean, back then you get an engineering degree, it means you can engineer everything, apparently. Otto von Bismarck. 1871, Mazel opened his own architect and engineering office in Columbus. 1871, at the corner of Town and Front Streets. He ran the firm for years until his death. Mazel hired Joseph Daubin, who became a partner in Mazel's firm after 3 years. Daubin continued to work with Mazel until the latter's death. Stop it! And continued designing buildings in Columbus. Mazel died on May 25th, 1891, at age 53, a few hours after the beginning of a heavy cold. He is buried in Greenlawn Cemetery in Columbus. Mazel married another German native, Lily Anderson, who arrived in Baltimore and was on the last train from Baltimore at Harper's Ferry. The pair married in Pittsburgh in 1865, had 4 children. Mazel's son Henry became city engineer in Columbus and opened an architectural firm, Henry Mazel and Company. He designed numerous government and commercial buildings in Columbus, Ohio, including 1887 Franklin County Courthouse, the Columbus City Prison. Jesus, let's see what this looks like. Oh, he designed the prison that looked like a fucking castle. Yeah. Totally, no reason to ask any questions. What are these people doing just looking through the windows? The windows that are built below the ground, of course. Because that's what you did when you built castles. Whatever that big fucking pole is at the top, no need to see. Power lines, of course. It says it on the thing, city prison. It's the prison. That's how you know. It totally makes sense that they would put those on the top. Totally. You want to make it pretty. And then next to it is the houses that we could build. There's some houses next to this giant fucking prison. Apparently. Look at that. They're bringing somebody in. Just in case you didn't believe that it was a prison. The building was constructed in 1879 in a castle-like style. 1879, they built that in a year. March 25th, 1913, during the Great Flood of 1913. Rear of the building during the flood, beside the wreckage of the Town Street Bridge. It's amazing. This is what it looked like in 1913 in Ohio. Just a random city in Ohio that had a giant flood, apparently. Oh my God, look at this in the background. What the fuck is that in the background? Whited out skies, of course, so we can't see the airships.
Aren't the cartoons on TV supposed to entertain us? The buffoon we clearly see seems like such an ignoramus. Like balloons being used to achieve terror is a story that's made famous. It's all controlled by thieves, therefore.
Look at that. Some more of just the regular houses. These are the other house. These are the houses that were here. These are the buildings that were here. Look at the background. Look at the big water towers and look at all that shit. The big spires in the background. This is 1913. Look at it all. Make it make sense. Nobody sent me $500 yet.
You didn't.
Look at 1913 in Ohio. This is just some random Lima, Ohio, 1913. This is the prison. So we're looking at the picture of the prison. This was during the Great Flood of 1913.
Looks pretty developed all around there.
And then here's the back of the building. Doesn't look like the building. And you're telling me this stuff is all recently constructed? That looks pretty old to me. Stupid. Oh, there it is. Okay. So the prison butted up to the water? That's not what it looked like in the other picture. Why is the prison butting up to the water? I mean, I guess that's the flood, right? But does any of that look new? Looks old and destroyed. Yeah, it does. Remember, this is the front view of it. The prison. But then this is what's behind it. So where's that waterway in the picture?
We have assembled inside this ancient.
And then look at, here's a different view of it from basically the same angle, just further away. What are we looking at?
The barns have stormed.
I don't see that same area. Looks like we're looking at different pictures. The first jail was built in 1804 in Franklin near the site of schoolhouse. It was the first county building and was replaced 3 years later by a jail made of brick. And then the big bad wolf came to try to blow it down, but he couldn't because it was made of brick. A temporary jail was built on the south side of Gay Street between High and 3rd Streets. Gay, High, and 3rd. Gotcha. Or between Town and Rich Streets. What do you mean, or? From 1924 to 1840, beginning when the county seat was moved to Columbus, prison was commissioned by Police Commissioner David W. Brooks, grandson of a pioneering family of Columbus. The prior prison, by the late 1870s, was a brick death trap, a 2-story building just behind the Central Market. Prisoners were led from the building across a wooden walkway to the courtroom in the city council chamber on the 2nd floor of the market building. The new prison, a castle-like structure, opened on December 29th, 1879. Official invitations to the opening were passed out to 2,200 families. They're opening a prison, so they're like, hey, come check it out. That makes sense. Though the doors were open to the public. The doors of the prison were open to the public. Council members, a committee, and the barracks band received visitors inspecting the prison, offices, courtroom, drill room, and hospital. The architect handed the keys to the city officials, and speeches were made by these men. The building was positively reviewed, blah, 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 blah. The building's emergency hospital was moved from the wooden cell area where it was uninviting to a new portion of the building around 1900. The space was completed on October 14th, 1900. During the Great Flood of 1913, the building became the site of refuge for dozens of people overnight. Despite this, several prisoners' cells were flooded out, with plans to transfer them to the county jail temporarily. The prison served as a relief headquarters after the flood. So they transported all the prisoners to a different location and used the building for... The Great Flood of 1913 severely affected Columbus, Ohio. The area most affected was Franklinton, also known as the Bottoms, for its low elevation near the Scotio River. Scotio? Among many infrastructure projects, a 7.2-mile flood wall was built from 1993 to 2004 to protect most of Franklinton from flooding. Columbus historian Ed Lenz described the 1913 flood as the worst catastrophe in the history of Columbus. Columbus had recorded flooding events since the area was first settled by colonists around 1797, mainly on the banks of the Scotio River. Lucas Sullivan laid out 220 lots in the area, though a flood in 1798 hit the site, forcing Sullivan to plan his settlement, Franklinton, further inland. Just think about this. I mean, it sounds good in theory and all, but think about the logistics of it. You know, that 1797 time when people were just moving all around, moving, grooving, vibing, moving, grooving, vibing, sliding. What's he say? A flood in 1898 also severely affected the area, creating a lake from the riverbank to Asylum Hill, location of the Columbus State Hospital. I just got to see this. This is the 20th century aerial view of the hospital. Of course, before it was destroyed, I would assume. Jesus, look at that fucking estate. Severing down on your bended knee. I mean, you could look at this picture for an hour and still see new things. Look at this. This was the state hospital in the 1800s.
That's crazy.
It's not believable. It's just not believable. Who built this thing? Look at how massive that structure is. I guarantee this bitch was founded. Columbus State Hospital, also known as Ohio State Hospital for the Insane, because this is where they brought all the people that remembered the last reset, that remembered what it was like. That's what people, they don't talk about it. But a lot of the people that were considered insane were insane because they talked about how, what the fuck is this life we're living? We used to be a lot more advanced. We used to have flying machines everywhere. We used to have free energy. What's going on? Was a public psychiatric hospital in Columbus, Ohio, founded in 1838 and rebuilt in 1887. The hospital was under construction. The hospital was constructed under the Kirkbride Plan. The building was said to have been the largest in the U.S. or the world until the Pentagon was completed in 1943. Oh, why is it all connected? Why does it always have to be so obvious? The Lunatic Asylum of Ohio was initially organized by the Act of the General Assembly, passed on March 5th, 1835. 1835? You think they built this shit? Come the fuck on. The original hospital building, after 3 years of construction, was completed in 1838 at a cost of $61,000. Oh, well, that's better. It took them 3 years to complete it then. My bad. Dr. William M. Awal, A-Wall? A-W-L? A-W-L. William Wall. Something about that just seems like an anagram or something like that. William M. A-W-L is his last name. M, his middle initial, A-W-L. Was erected, Dr. William was elected as the first medical superintendent of the asylum. In November 1868, a fire destroyed the asylum, killing 6 patients and displacing over 300 others. The hospital was rebuilt in the Kirkbride style in 1887. It was rebuilt in 1887. The hospital was closed in the late 1980s and was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in an attempt to save the building in 1986. The structure was nevertheless demolished between 1991 and 1996 by the S.G. Lowendick and Sons. I mean, knowing what I know now, can you imagine how you would look at the Northville tunnels and shit that have all been destroyed and built over?
Have they all been destroyed?
Oh yeah, it's all $1 million houses there now, multi-million-dollar
There's no
houses.
entrances. All the tunnels are gone.
All the tunnels are gone, and now the asylum that was up on 7 Mile up on the hill, that's all gone. That's where they're building all that new construction.
But I thought the tunnels would still be there. All that.
Oh my God! Look
Could you
at that.
imagine having a multi-million dollar house on top of the tunnels?
So it's
I mean, it's gorgeous, you know.
this is from 1900 to 1906. So you're like, yeah, we used to live in a world where we could build structures like this. And they're like, no, that makes you crazy. And so they lock you up. I mean, this is fucking insane. I guess it fits. Look.
I mean, that architecture is just so pretty. Like, look at
So
this.
unnecessarily pretty.
In the flower pattern.
Right.
That's so gorgeous.
So unnecessary. This is a place where crazy people are being dumped off. And yet it looks like every other building.
So, okay. See this curve that goes...
Yeah, the dome.
How do they...
The dome that supports itself.
Set that tower on top of it without it...
And it was probably built
just amazing.
Based on a contest winner. I mean, you can't even... Look at how small the people painted in look. Right here at the bottom. Look how big the doors are. Why are the doors that big? Why are there windows on the bottom floor of the asylum like that? I mean, you want people to escape? And then there's clearly windows that go below the ground back there. Oh, look. There's the electrical lines that for some reason are there. The fucking domes in the background. And another one of these things where, like, how did you heat this entire structure back in... This is Ohio. Winters in Ohio are brutal. Oh, so that's the end of the history of the building. There's nothing else I can look up. This is Dr. William McClay Owl. Of course, that's him. That's what they all look like. He was a psychiatrist, a politician, and a mental health hospital administrator. Don't you think being a psychiatrist, being a politician, and being a mental health hospital administrator are 3 jobs that would require all of you? Like, you probably couldn't do another job if you had one of those jobs.
Butter where the poop comes from. Not saying that a nice one's gross, but men and women both have one and nothing else really.
He was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and married blah, blah, a lawyer and state senator Samuel. So the lawyer and the senator had a baby, and he became this dude. He studied basic medical concepts under a local physician. At age 20, he entered the medical department of the University of Pennsylvania. What was the medical department of the University of Pennsylvania like in the 18 fucking 10s and 20s and shit? I mean, are you serious right now?
I love when they dance in opposite circles while women lie on their backs and people
Failing to graduate. Of course. He began a temporary practice in his hometown, specializing in anatomy and surgery, but later accompanied a knapsacker to Lancaster, Ohio in 1826. What? He didn't graduate medical school, but then opened up a practice that specialized in anatomy and surgery? This is 1830? 18, no, it is 1820s.
He was also a farmer.
And a
And a
painter.
sculptor.
Yeah. This is the guy that became the head of that entire hospital. But later accompanied a knapsacker to Lancaster, Ohio. What does that mean? He accompanied a knapsacker. Maybe it's a knapsacker. Does that make a difference if I?
Ew, those just gave me creepies. Yes, they do.
This is so weird. Maybe they're silver though. We can melt them down. In 1826, in 1830, he married Rebecca Lowley. He then practiced his profession in many towns within Ohio, but finally settled in Columbus in 1833. Because, going from town to town in the 1830s was like it is nowadays, right?
Yeah, so easy. Just call Uber.
Right. He was the first surgeon west of the Allegheny Mountains to tie the left common carotid artery. Where did he learn that? Being, that he failed medical school. In Columbus, he quickly specialized in treating. He quickly specialized in treating mental disorders and management of people suffering from insanity. Insanity, madness, lunacy, and craziness are behaviors caused by a certain abnormal mental or behavioral patterns. Insanity can manifest as violations of societal norms, including a person or persons becoming a danger to themselves or to other people. Conceptually, mental insanity is also associated with the biological phenomenon of contagion, that mental illness is infectious, as in the case of copycat suicides. In contemporary usage, the term insanity is informal, unscientific, and denoting mental instability. Thus, The term the term insanity defense is the legal definition of mentally instability. Huh? In medicine, the general term psychosis is used to indicate the presence of delusions or hallucinations in a patient. I want to know about this though. Engraving of the 8th print of A. Rake's Progress depicting inmates at Bedlam Asylum by William Hogarth.
Keeping you in faith while they're supplying. The reason it's all fake, they're
Oh man, this is so packed full of fucking
just doesn't demonstrate, so they're lying.
symbolism. Wow. Look at this, the inmates. So this guy is holding a telephone wire, an electricity wire. He's got that hat on that's very specific. This guy looks Shakespearean. Where there's a dog barking at. There's two dogs. Is there one dog? There's a dog barking at him. Look at the HE carved into the wood there. Then you have this guy playing his violin with a book on his head. Now you have these ladies. These are the kind of ladies that you see in all the old paintings that don't make much sense. But these ladies are in the asylum dressed like this.
The math just isn't mathing, so you're lying. You act just like you're grasping.
You have, I don't even know what's going on here. This guy is looking through a telescope. That guy has a fucking crown on his head.
Keeping you in faith while they're supplying.
There's so much going on here.
The math just doesn't matter.
What? So the stuff you're going to immediately look at is the foreground, right? Which you're like, what the hell's going on there? But look at the background. What's this guy working on carving into the fucking wall or whatever? Like 1763? What is he talking about? Ship at sea with the moon and then energy sources and... And he's just allowed to put this into the wall? I'd love to see this shit. Look at this. What are we looking at here? It's like a clue.
This is just about pizza and men.
Got this guy in the background looking like a crazy ass mongoloid with a scepter, a religious scepter, and bars on the windows and shit. And then who are these? These maids are helping this man with the... I mean, I don't even know. I'm sure there's so much shit that I don't know what I'm looking at. If the doors are open, can't the prisoners just leave? Where do all these prisoners get their outfits from, though? I mean, just think about how ridiculous it is to think that all these different prisoners have all these different outfits. I mean, these dresses seem like they were a lot of work, right? To get in and out of? To maintain their fluffiness? I think this one is the most telling, though. The guy holding the power line with the weird, like, jester style face, and then that Aleister Crowley helmet, or thing on his head. In English, the word sane derives from the Latin adjective sanus, meaning healthy. Juvenal's phrase mens sana in corpore sano is often translated to mean a healthy mind is a healthy body. From this perspective, insanity can considered as poor health of the mind, not necessarily of the brain as an organ, although that can affect mental health, but rather refers to defective function of mental process, such as reasoning. Another Latin phrase related to our current concept of sanity is compos mentis, sound of mind. It's so interesting that the Latin connection was there. And, the schools up until like the 1900s, the universities and all that shit, especially all the old school ones, they taught Latin and Greek. They weren't teaching math and science and language and all that. They were teaching Greek and Latin. And the euphemism term for insanity is non-compos mentis, in not sound of mind. In law, mens rea means having had criminal intent or a guilty mind when the actus reus was committed. A more informal use of the term insanity is to denote something or someone considered highly unique, passionate, or extreme, including a positive sense. The term may also be used as an attempt to discredit or criticize popular ideas, beliefs, principles, desires, personal feelings. Madness, the non-legal word for insanity, has been recognized. Ancient Greeks appeared. See, what they're going to say is like, the ancient Greeks, thousands of years ago, blah, 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 blah. And then it'll be like, they'll get to like, the 200s or whatever, and then there won't be any sort of advancement until the 1800s when it's brought back up. Goya's Madhouse in 1812 to 1819. Look at that shit. Just still, I know it's supposed to be nothing, but look at the building. It's a big stone building with archway walls that support itself. There's no need for columns. Ancient Rome, ancient Greek, Middle Ages, typically continued a number of ideas of Greeks and Romans. Yeah, see? From the Middle Ages, blah, 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 classical ones, during the 18th century, so we just jump all the way to the 1700s. The Middle Ages are what? The thousands, aren't they? The late hundreds and thousands? They're in the middle. The French and the British emphasized the need for humane treatment of the clinically insane, though the criteria for diagnosis and placement in an asylum were considered looser than today, often including such conditions as speech disorder, speech impediments, epilepsy, and depression, or being pregnant out of wedlock. That meant you were insane. What? Europe's oldest asylum was the precursor of today's Bethlehem Royal Hospital in London, known as Bedlam, which began admitting the mentally ill in 1403 and is mentioned in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. The first American asylum was built in Williamsburg, Virginia, circa 1773. Think about that. Apparently, no insane asylums were built until 1773, and then suddenly they just blew up. They were just everywhere, all over the country for some reason.
Oh, there's a place we could shove our unwanted and...
Well, where did all these mentally ill people come from?
They've been around.
No, that's the point. If they were around, then they would have had the asylums.
Incest and all that. Now, we kept them at home and hid them away from people.
Right, but that's what the asylums are. Like I say, a lot of the people in these asylums talk about they would get put into these asylums because they would talk about that we're not living in the right timeline. Something happened. They remembered a different time. They remembered the flying machines. They remembered how we were, the reset. They would talk about the reset. That would get you put in these asylums. And then you're in the asylums, and all the children become the orphans, the orphan trains. This is all. It fits because it doesn't fit. It doesn't. You don't build those. Nobody was building that fucking asylum in the middle of Ohio, out in the middle of nowhere. You just build the largest building in the world until the Pentagon's built, and it's an asylum. How many crazy people do you have? Where is this coming from? Before advancements in therapeutic treatment during the 19th and 20th century, these hospitals were more so used to isolate and ostracize mentally ill from society rather than cure them or maintain their health. That's fucked up. Pictures from this early era frequently portray patients bound with rope or chains, often into beds or walls, or restrained in straitjackets. And then that's it. Insanity is no longer considered a medical diagnosis, but is a legal term in the United States, stemming from its original use in common law. The disorders formerly encompassed by the term covered a wide range of mental disorders now diagnosed as bipolar disorder, organic brain syndromes, schizophrenia, and other psychotic disorders. Going back to this picture, though. Look at this. This was the inside of the insane asylum.
Chaos.
But look at the outfits. Look at all the hidden shit. Like, look at this guy is holding a telephone pole. He's got that pointed hat on. This guy has a book on his head. Where do these women get their dresses from? Who put them in those dresses? You got the Shakespeare guy with the dog barking at him for some reason. You got this guy back here holding some sort of scepter. This guy, again, I
They're
don't know.
crazy. They're supposed to be portrayed as crazy.
Right, but this isn't crazy. Like, of course you're going to pay attention to this, but then look at the wall. This guy is carving this into the wall. The fuck is all this? Like, you got this mongoloid creature-looking guy looking back at his scepter, his religious scepter. This is what happens when you look into history. You question why I believe what I believe in, but this is because I tried to find history on this Ohio asylum, and there was nothing there. I read you the history. I decided, well, fuck, I guess I'll look at the William M. Daw was elected as the first medical superintendent, and you go to his shit, and there's nothing there. I mean, it's founded in 1838. Just founded that way. Closed in the late 1980s because, I mean, again, too many people are waking up and asking questions. We might be like, holy shit, this is new. But the owners, they've seen this before. They've seen what happens when we start, like, they've seen the years of buildup where the people are starting to break free. Starting to realize, hey, these buildings don't belong. My friend confessed she passed the test, and we will never settle. So I'm back here in the flood. Trying to find the background of the flood. Among about 10 floods between 1798 and 1898, a series of levees was constructed, most 30 feet wide by 15 feet tall. Yep. those levees that they constructed back then, they were real good at constructing levees. As well as the Griggs Dam was completed in 1905. Let's see what the Griggs Dam looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. They just built this. This is 1835. Right?
I still don't know how those things are built.
Of course you don't. Griggs Dam is a gravity dam with a 500-foot long curved concrete spillway. Well, that's weird. Concrete, huh? What kind of concrete did they use? Where you was going?
I have to go to tail waggers and then I'm picking
Yeah,
up
don't tell me.
Adelaide and taking her to go up and
Griggs Dam is located within Columbus, Ohio city limits. The Scotio River Upper Arlington Dam forms the Griggs Reservoir, which is a major source of the drinking water for the city of Columbus. Named after the city's chief engineer, Julian Griggs, the dam was completed in 1905 at a cost of $700,000 and was the first major reservoir in Columbus area. I betcha in that lake, like I betcha where the reservoir is, a bunch of structures were there and they flooded that area, and now it's a bunch of shit at the bottom of that lake. Look at me, 11 viewers, 0 viewers and 11 likes. Whenever I tell you I have 0 viewers and you realize you're watching, so that's not true, along with anybody else that's commenting, shouldn't that tell you something? I feel irresponsible talking about this shit and not talking about Mishnah Nadah 5 and all that stuff. Because who knows who might happen to stumble across this and they would need to know about Mishnah Nadah 5.4 over this. Where's Major right there? For 20 years it served as the only reservoir. Griggs Dam is a gravity dam with a 500-foot spillway. Its height 5 feet, but it forms a reservoir almost 6 miles long with 1,200,000,000 U.S. gallon capacity. U.S. Route 33. U.S. Route 33! Love it. Runs along the east side of the dam, providing access to the dam and recreation area on both the upstream and downstream sides of the dam. Approximately 10 miles upstream of the Griggs Dam is the slightly larger O'Shaughnessy Dam, which is also owned and operated by the city of Columbus. Together, the two reservoirs have a capacity of 8 billion U.S. gallons. Due to the arrangement of the two dams' reservoirs, Griggs Reservoir is often able to be kept full during the dry summer months by first releasing water from O'Shaughnessy Reservoir during times of need. By only using Griggs Reservoir capacity during the times of extreme need, when the O'Shaughnessy is at its minimum pool level, Columbus residents are able to use the full acreage of the reservoir for recreation during the summer. That's it. That's all I get when I look up the Griggs Dam. Good God, I can't even look up Julian Griggs. That's not even blue. It's 1905, man. There should be all sorts of construction photos and all that shit of Griggs Dam going up. Maybe if I check out O'Shaughnessy Dam. O'Shaughnessy Dam. Oh, yeah. View from that's the fucking dam right there. They just built that shit. God damn it. Get the fuck out of here. There's a dam located on the Scotio River near Dublin, Ohio. The dam forms O'Shaughnessy Reservoir, which is a major drinking source of water. Columbus. It was completed in 1925. So they built the other dam first and then built this dam upriver from it. Boy, it's a good thing that worked out. Filing recommendations by then Superintendent Jerry O'Shaughnessy, from whom the dam was named. At the time, the reservoir was described as the finest inland waterway in the United States. Located 10 miles upstream from the smaller Griggs Dam, it provides a large area for various forms of recreation. In addition to its water supply duties, the reservoir holds 6.3 billion U.S. gallons over a surface of 845 acres. The Columbus Zoo and Aquarium are located on the east banks of the reservoir near the dam. And we all know that zoos are used, zoos and golf courses and shit, used to hide. 1990, the dam was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Do I get a history of this dam? Not at all. Hydroelectricity. The city of Columbus installed a hydroelectricity operation on the west side of the dam, which was completed in 1987. It's the only history I get for it. Amazing. Amazing. Just, that's where it is. Just in the middle of the fucking state like that. No fucking, nothing. No, nothing. This is fucking. This is what happens when I try to unlearn or quench that conspiracy thirst. When I'm like, man, something doesn't seem right. Here, let me go prove myself wrong by looking up the official narrative. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what games you're playing. You have to admit this is fucking weird. So, back to the flood, 1913 flood. Broken earthen levee, March 26, 1913. Look at that shit. Look at in the background. Look at the buildings in the fucking background. What the fuck are we looking at? What the fuck is this? Wait, what the fuck building do you think that is? Look at that big giant ass bridge. Oh, we got some people standing on the other side of the broken levee. Of course, you have the power lines. And then obviously you have a giant fucking skyscraper that's been edited out of the picture. You see that, right? More giant buildings. Big old factories. Look at the building in the background of that. What the fuck do you think that... How big is that building? But hey, you know, we're trying to show you the broken life, so we show you the picture from here. Oh, look at how podunk and nothing it is. Gee, that's weird. A streetcar found on Green Lawn Avenue a mile from its tracks. Yep, that flood, oh boy. Couldn't take a better picture of that, though. Had to make it all dreamy looking. What the fuck? The West Side Spiritualist Church among damaged houses. Oh yeah, the West Side Spiritualist Church just in the background. And then a bunch of damaged houses from the flood. It's so cool that we've gotten a hold of floods so perfectly that this kind of shit never happens anywhere outside of, like, you know, the areas where it happens all the time, like the South and shit. But in Ohio, I mean, you never hear about Ohio flood never anymore. They got that under control. From March 24th to 27th, 1913, Columbus was hit with its worst flood. The flood killed at least 93 people in Columbus and stranded dozens more in their homes. Interestingly, when you look at like the Great Fire and shit that destroyed all of Chicago, and there was actually 3 fires going at different places. The Great Fire is just the one they talk about. There was one in Michigan going on, one another place. But of these 3 fires, they just destroyed hundreds and hundreds of acres of it was at nighttime when it happened and shit. And yet only 3 people died in those. In all of the great fires that they tell us about, he's completely spontaneous, not planned for, not demolition events. It's only a handful of people that ever died in all of them.
No matter which way
Let's see. Okay, stranded dozens more in their home. The weather forecast printed in newspapers on March 24th warned of a storm heading eastward, though it stated there is no danger or damaging storms in the vicinity. There is no danger of damaging storms in the vicinity. The city had a cold winter, and the ground had not fully thawed, leading to a higher flood risk. Beginning late on March 24th, and spanning 24 hours, about 5 inches of rain fell in central Ohio. Flooding occurred across Ohio, with many of its major rivers flooding. By 2 a.m. on March 25th, it became clear that a major flood was developing. By dawn, local fire and police were rescuing residents, and the water level reached knee level. At 10 a.m., the earthen state levee across from the Ohio Penitentiary, am I saying that right? Collapsed from water pressure. This led to most of Franklin being under 7 to 17 feet of water. Residents fled to buildings, second floors, and attics, though many homes were lifted off their foundations. Some people were forced to climb trees and escape the floodwaters. By nightfall, the temperature dropped, and some exhausted residents fell into the waters. Amid the flooding, Columbus Dispatch publisher Robert F. Wolfe saw the rising water from his office. Wolfe, a property owner at Buckeye Lake, knew there were many boats in winter storage there. He chartered a train and sent it with volunteers to collect the boats. The boats helped local residents to save flood victims during the crisis. What trains were running? Christians will never answer your questions. They're dumb as hell. Over the next 5 days of high waters, the local government, countless volunteers, and 5 National Guard companies rescued people and worked to save properties. The flooding shut down the city for 5 days and the west side of Columbus for 6 weeks. An estimated 93 people died. Every bridge in downtown Columbus was destroyed except the Rich Street Bridge, which ironically had been condemned, somehow survived. 2 railroad bridges survived, although much of the railroad tracks had been washed away in Franklinton. So, how did they charter the train to?
my endorphins are disproportionate.
Get the boats. That's it. The flood led to significant rebuilding and infrastructure improvements over time. New bridges and levees were constructed, and Columbus Civic Center was built on the east bank of the river downtown. In 1916, voters approved a $3.5 million plan to control flooding after state and conservancy programs were not approved. The Scioto River was doubled in width, and its channel was deepened. That's interesting. The flood led to much of Franklin. How do you, they doubled
Better. Never know.
the width of a river and made it deeper? It seems amazing technology for back then.
Let's see.
The flood led to much of Franklinton's residents and business owners to relocate to the hilltop at a higher elevation, prompting Franklinton's long decline. Another flood took place in 1959 after an earthen levee broke. In the next decade, the levee was reinforced. Congress also approved a Flood Insurance Act, making cities that adopt floodplain maps and restrict development in those areas eligible for insurance. Columbus joined the program in 1971 and 1983. FEMA created a map designated nearly all of Franklinton as a floodplain, and thus Columbus City Council severely restricted new construction in the area. Yeah, now we get to the fucking 80s and shit. I don't care. And that's all. That's all I get about that flood. We don't get any actual information. I tried to look up this prison, and not much to it. Great Flood of 1913. Prison was demolished in 1920 after its offices and prisoners were moved to the city's workhouse. By this time, 40 years of occupancy were seen as too many. It became ill-adapted to its needs. Oh yeah, that beautiful castle, just no good anymore. Destroy it. Prohibition had also lessened the need for prisoners or workhouses, allowing for consolidation of the two. They had less need for prisoners back then? What happened? You know what's interesting? Again, I thought about this the other day, but if you think about how cops are portrayed in Hollywood up until now, like nowadays you don't see any shows about goofy cops and dumb cops that show up and stereotype dumb cops. They're like, you know, like in Sanford and Son, you know, the two cops that would show up all the time. The one was the white dude he was so dumb he talked like this. Oh, that's such an embarrassing character. And then his mom was Miss Hathaway from fucking Hillbilly. It's just dumb. But the cops were always portrayed as, you know, bumpkins and like decent people who would let you off if you got in trouble, and it wasn't nearly the military force it is now. The building, still in some use in July 1920, was damaged by a fire. The roof was destroyed in several places, allowing rain to damage additional portions of the building. And that's it. That's the end of the history of the prison, the Castle Prison. Like I say, this is what happens when you try to look into this shit. It's weird. It's not what you expect, but it's how it works. So he built the courthouse that we saw here, this courthouse, and then he built that prison, and he built the Schley Brewery in the historic district, in the Brewery District neighborhood of Columbus, Ohio. At the time, nomination. This piece of shit, like, this is something you'd expect. Compared to the other couple buildings, it's kind of nothing. And of course, there's no history for it. Like, nothing. There's not even a history. When you go down, it says see also. References. There's no history for it whatsoever. Don't even get a founding. Don't even get a construction. Most of the 2 to 3 story commercial brick building built between the 1860s and the 1890s. It took 30 years to build this thing, but the rest of those buildings went up in no time. He also designed Franklin County's infirmary. Most of his buildings have been since demolished. The oldest extant church building in Columbus, Holy Cross, was also designed by him. So he also built, this building. I mean, literally, this building is in every city. We have these buildings, multiple of these buildings. During the early 1800s, the first Catholics in Columbus were visited only occasionally by traveling priests of the Dominican order. When Father Thomas Martin, O.P., visited Columbus on May 15th, 1833, a group of local landowners, Samuel and Margaret Crosby, Nathaniel and Caroline Meddery, and Phoebe Otis, met with him and proposed to gift property at 5th and Walnut Street to the Catholic Church, provided that a church building be constructed and in use within 5 years' time. They just had so much wealth and power that they were just like, here, we're just gonna give you this land here. We just fucking hey, we just got it. The building, St. Remigius Church, was dedicated on April 29th, 1838. So this is a different building? This is just the guy himself. But see, this is one of those things that I love. So this is a painting circa 1500s, right? And you see this and you go, oh, wow, look how crazy this is. Me, I look at that and I go, what the fuck? Who built this? This is the 1500s? Of course, all the people and all the paintings, everyone painted in this exact same style. All the heads down like this, and thought this was a good idea to paint. Like, who the fuck? Oh, and of course, the big organ up at the top, just thrown in the background. That's Saint Remigius. Saint Remigius. Measuring at just 55 feet long and 30 feet wide, St. Remigius Church was planned as a temporary place of worship that would later be turned into a school. The pastors at St. Remigius also served the Catholics in the neighboring cities, in addition to the parish's own primarily German congregation. Because, you know, in the 1800s, you could travel around to all the different fucking... all the different churches, you know. Father William Sconant became the first resident priest in 1843, the same year the first rectory at the site was finished. By then, the growing Catholic population in Columbus necessitated a larger church building. At Father Junker's request, the parish was renamed Holy Cross. The present structure was completed and consecrated by Bishop John Purcell on January 16, 1848, just as Irish immigrants began to arrive in Columbus to escape the Great Famine. This influx of migrants eventually split off to form St. Patrick Church, though they continued to share Holy Cross while the new church was being built. This is the interior of Holy Cross in 1943. Fucking amazing. I just want to know how they did it. A fire in June of 1877 burned most of the high altar and caused $20,000 of damage. Following repairs, Bishop Augustus Tiobi of the Diocese of Covington rededicated the church in 1880. 3 years later, Columbus native and humorist James Thurber resided in the neighborhood around Holy Cross in his childhood and made references to its clock and bell in his works. Oh man, I'm glad they threw that in there because I was wondering about James Thurber, the humorist, and natives. Oh, here's another picture of the inside of it. Shit was easy back then, man. You see the other buildings that we've looked at from the same time? You think they couldn't build that bullshit? Okay, so that's all I can find on the guy that built those buildings. There's nothing else about him. Outside of Columbus, Metzel designed the Allen, Madison, and Shelby County courthouses in Ohio. Oh, here we go. He designed this one and built this one. Let's see. Is there a history for this? There's a history for this one. 1850, Madison County contained 24 churches. 24 churches in 1850 in Madison County. I can't imagine the population was over, 500 or 5,000. 24 churches. Had a total population of just 10,000 people. 10,000 people needed 24 churches. And the county's public school system had 3,838 pupils. 3838. With agriculture as its primary business, the same year the county produced 726,451 bushels of corn. Man, they kept meticulous records when it comes to their corn. 19,300 tons of hay, 120,996 pounds of wool, and 128,948 pounds of butter. In 1900, the county had a population of 20,000. 50 years, they doubled their population. 20,590. Is this the county? Oh, this is just the county. I was hoping to find stuff about the history of the church, though. Or that building. Okay, here we go. The Madison County Courthouse. Is a historic, not an historic, is a historic Second Empire style courthouse located in London, Ohio, constructed in 1892. It was listed in the Historic Registry in 1937. The courthouse was designed by George H. Metzer during the 1974 super outbreak, the tornado that destroyed most of Xenia hit London, causing the Lady Justice statue at the top of the courthouse to fall over. Would you like any more information about this building? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. No Madison County Courthouse, fucking, you get a picture of this shit. And you get to know that it was built in 1892. That's it. 1892 by architect George H. Metzel. Did he hire a company to build it? Did he build it? Okay, so wait, let's go back. So now we have that, and then we have the Shelby County courthouses. Oh, he built this one, the Shelby County Courthouse. Yeah. I mean, you can see, similar style for each, so obviously he built that with the windows on the bottom floor that go below the ground. Because that makes sense. That's what you do back then. And I can't, this one's not blue, so I don't get to fucking look anything up about this one. Notable people. Don't know any of them. John Hoying, professional baseball player. Paul Lachtber, chemist and Nobel Prize laureate. J. Edward Russell, former U.S. representative. Bill Steinkemper, American football player. I recognize that name. So I don't get to know anything about that courthouse. Fuck me. And that's all I get to know about George H. Metzel, the guy who designed these buildings. So what happens? You try to go down the rabbit hole, try to keep going, but then you just hit that wall and there's nothing else to even look up. This was me looking up the Allen County Courthouse. That's how I got on George Metzel. But that's it. Can't read any more about that. So now we go back again. Now we're back to Lima, Ohio, because I was trying to figure out when Lima, Ohio was established. And that building was built, right? We had that building being built in the Allen County Courthouse. So this was me trying to figure out, because since 1930, Lima has been the center of government for Allen County. Its first three courthouses erected the first city. Foundations of the city followed in quick order. The first school appeared in 1832. Lima's first physician, Dr. William Cunningham, arrived in 1831. So we went back a year. 1836 brought the first newspaper to Lima. Lima was officially organized as a city in 1842. Henry de Villers Williams was its first mayor. First public school opened in 1850. In 1854, the first train appeared in Lima, a harbinger of later economic success. The first train appeared? What does that fucking mean? Also in 1854, a cholera outbreak in Delphos, a town in Allen County, northwest of Lima, spread through western central Ohio. County-wide problems caused by the contaminated water supply were not solved until 1886. 32 years later, when Lima started a municipal water system, because that's what you do. Lima's role as a regional center for industry began early. The Lima Architectural Works began operations in 1869. The company changed names and types of manufacturing through the years. That's what you do. You just change your product. 1882, under the name Lima Machine Works, the industry built the first shay-geared locomotive. 1869. The Shay locomotive is a geared steam locomotive that originated and was primarily used in North America. The locomotives were built to the patents of Ephraim Shay, who has been credited with the popularization of the concept of a geared steam locomotive. Although the design of Ephraim Shay's early locomotives differed from later ones, there's a clear line of development that joins all Shays. Shay locomotives were especially suited for logging, mining, and industrial operations, and could operate successfully on steep or poor quality track. Weird to think, like, what came first, the tracks or the trains? I mean, you needed the tracks to operate the trains, so did they build a bunch of tracks before they had the trains, and then they're like, we should be able to put something on here? Shay Sonora Class C number 7, 3 driven trunks and articulated tender. I mean, I always think it's strange to think about somebody shoveling coal or whatever fuel source you have into the boiler of the train, pulling it along. Like, it's really weird. Ephraim Shay was a school teacher, a clerk in an American Civil War hospital, a civil servant, a logger, a merchant, a railway owner, and an inventor who lived in Michigan. Man, what a fucking guy! 1839 to 1916. He was a school teacher. He was a clerk at a hospital. He was a civil servant. That could range in lots of different things. He was a logger, a merchant, a railway owner, and an inventor. My God. In 1860s, Shea became a logger and wanted a better way to move logs to the mill than on winter snow sleds. He built his own tramway in 1875 on 2-foot 2-inch gauge track on wooden ties, allowing him to log all year round. That doesn't bother anybody. Two years later, he developed the idea of having an engine sit on a flat car with a boiler, gears, and trucks that could pivot. The first Shea had only 2 cylinders, and the front truck was mounted normally, while the rear truck was fixed to the frame and could not swivel, much as normal drivers on a locomotive. He mounted a 3-foot diameter by 5-foot tall boiler centered on a car with the water tank over the front trucks, and with an engine supplied by William Crippen mounted crossways over the rear trucks. Shea experimented first with a chain drive from the engine through the floor of the truck axle. It is not known if he powered one or both axles, but he soon found that the chain drive was not practical and that he needed to try a belt drive. It did not take long for the idea to become popular. Of course. Shea applied for and was issued a patent for the basic idea in 1881. He patented an improved geared truck for his engines in 1901. Lima Locomotive Works of Lima, Ohio built Ephraim Shea's prototype engine in 1880. Prior to 1884, all the Shea's Lima produced weighed 10 to 15 short tons, 8.9 to 13.4 long tons, 9.1 to 13.6 tons. Each had just 2 cylinders. In 1884, they delivered the first 3-cylinder Class B Shea in the 1885, and in 1885, the first 3-truck Class C Shea. The success of the Shea led to a major expansion and reorganization of the Lima Company. When Lima first received the Shea idea, it was not impressed until John Cranes influenced the company to use the idea, resulting in the classic Shea design. In 1903, Lima could claim that it had delivered the heaviest locomotive on drivers in the world. It's hard to read when these, heaviest locomotive on drivers. Never said those words before. The first Class D Shea, which still had 3 cylinders and 3 trucks, but weighing 140 short tons, 120 long tons, or 130 tons. This was built for the El Paso Rock Inland Line from Alamogordo, New Mexico to Cox Canyon. 31 miles away, over winding curves and grades up to 6%. The use of a 2-truck tender was necessary because the poor water quality along the line meant the locomotive had to carry enough water for the round trip. Louis E. Freitner, working for Lima, patented improved engine mounting brackets and a superheater for the Shea in 1908 and 1909. After the basic Shea patents had expired, Willamette Iron and Steel Works of Portland Willamette Iron and Steelworks of Portland, Oregon, manufactured Shay-type locomotives, and in 1927, Milligate obtained a patent. Train. A patent on an improved geared truck for such locomotives. These became known as Willamette locomotives. Since Shay was a trademark of Lima, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to refer to locomotives manufactured by Willamette and others as Shay. 6 Shay patent locomotives known as Henderson-style Shays were built by the Michigan Iron Works in Cadillac, Michigan. Doesn't even say much. Oh, my eyes are going crazy. Can't keep going. I have to come back some other day and do it. You guys have yourselves a great day. You pedophiles, kill yourself. I have 0 viewers and 11 likes, mind you, so have a great day.